Hey mama, we see you trying to be all things to all people, trying to do everything and feeling the guilt when you feel like you're falling short of expectations, feeling like you're constantly nagging or being nagged, that irritation, the short temper. Whether you are a working mom, stay-at-home mom, or work-from-home mom, we too have felt physically and mentally depleted. But guess what? Mom burnout happens to us all. So today we are sharing our experience and tips on how to deal when you are mentally mommed out. So grab your drinks, pop in those earphones, especially if you have little ears around, and let's dive right into episode 76.
Welcome to Mamas and Mimosas. I'm your girl, Roni.
I'm Marianne.
And today we have a special co-host with us. As we told you, we'll bring in co-host this season. So we have my girl. Introduce yourself for us.
My name is Cassandra Gilbert.
She is going to be here just co-hosting with us. And also, today's topic is mentally mommed out. I know you guys already know what that means because I'm sure every mama has been there. And Sandy does a lot of, I call her Sandy because she's a very close friend of mine, but she does a lot of work with like healing, and she has her master's. She's very educated on how to help us get through these times with these little ones. So we will dive right in. Tell us about yourself. Do you have children? What's the deal with you?
Yes.
Let our listeners know.
I have a lot of kids.
Oh my God. Here she go with this lot of kids.
I was going to say 12.
Oh my God.
That's what it feels like. So mentally mommed out. She feels like she has 12 kids.
I have 4 children. My oldest is 14. My twins are 6. They just turned 6 in September. And my baby, who is the only boy, is 4. He'll be 5 in March.
Yes, so that sounds like 12 kids. So
right.
I see.
It feels like 12 kids alone.
Yeah, the twins is 6 by themselves.
Yes,
so.
yes,
Oh my
yes.
goodness. And what is your background?
So my background, I have 2 masters. My first master's is in education, but my second master's is in counseling psychology, and I am trained as a therapist. And
she's my therapist for real, guys. No disclaimer, she really is.
I'm trained as a therapist, which I love. I love working with people one-on-one and helping them on their healing journey. And I currently work with people one-on-one as a healer and spiritual teacher, and I absolutely love what I do.
Amazing, amazing. So with that being said, do you have people who come to you that are parents and in that situation where they feel like overwhelmed just with, I know life is overwhelming in itself. Right. And then when you add kids on top of it, it could be a little challenging. So
yes.
Do you work with anyone who may have challenges in that department, or yourself? Yeah. Do you feel like you've had challenges and where you feel like you're mentally mommed out?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it has not been mom.
Right, all of it. And I work primarily with women.
Okay.
So that's right on point for me in regards to a lot of the women I work with are women who are moms and have got to a point in their lives where they realize, like, not only are they mommed out, but in the process of trying to be wonderful moms, and balance it all, they've kind of lost themselves in the mix, right? And getting back to who they are and releasing what no longer serves them and what isn't working for them anymore, just to have a better sense of balance and presence in their lives for themselves, but also for their children.
Amazing. Well, I feel like that's so common that it's always we lose ourselves within that process.
Right.
Why is it feel like because we always putting everybody first before us, and we just like, yeah, we'll just eat that pretzel later and make sure everybody else has a gourmet meal because we're running all the time. I feel like that's probably the main thing on why we get so mommed out.
Yes. We just take it all on. Like, okay, I'll get this done. I'll join the PTA even though I'm tired and make dinner and, be the mom who takes the snacks every week to soccer and, we take on because we want to be the best moms we can be and show up for our kids. And when we have multiple kids, it adds on to that, as you both know, right? And not recognizing that we have to prioritize ourselves in the mix of that So for our own longevity, but also for the quality of parent you show up as for your children each and every day.
Yeah, because if you are crazy, like you cannot show up if you've had a rough day. I notice, like, if I'm already having a crazy day and someone comes in there like, can I get, I'm like, just get it. Like, you just like, because you already have so much, and that's so horrible, but it's real life. It is horrible, and we keep it as real as we can on the show, and like, it just happens that way because we are already mentally out, so we're just like snappy, and that could, your childhood, I am a believer about the childhood grooms you into who you're going to be in an adult. And I feel like a lot of people have a lot of childhood trauma and stuff from our parents, you know, parenting. And for me, parenting in the 90s was totally different from what parenting is in this new century with social media and everything else. So it's really common to be snappy, even though everybody wants to practice gentle parenting.
Yes, it's so funny you say that, because I recently seen a video of a woman who was getting backlash because she's a stay-at-home mom, but she has a nanny. And the nanny only comes like a couple hours, like 2 or 3 days out of the week.
And she has multiple kids.
And she has multiple kids. But the nanny comes so that she later explained that the reason behind her having a nanny is so she could have a couple hours, 4 hours to herself every couple of days to run errands, go to the gym,
but the fact
whatever
that
she needs to do.
Like,
right. She got so much backlash. Right. Yeah. And it's like, no, she's like, I do that because I'm able to come back home to my kids and be the gentle parent they need to be, and be excited about spending quality time with them, and actually like pull them close rather than being like, go to your room or go outside or, get out my face type of thing, because she's had her time to herself to recharge.
Exactly. And instead of like beating her up, it's like, let's give you kudos that you knew, like, okay, look, these kids are about to drive me nuts. So what can I do to where I'm not crazy? So the fact that she figured that out and knew that that would work for her alone should be like, okay, mama, you figured it out. Whatever works for you, yourself. We know when we've had enough, when we just can't take it anymore. So I'll give her props, because that was a good idea.
Yeah, burnout is real.
And staying at home she was probably even more crazier because she's with them. I know
I know people
everybody
have
remember quarantine. Hey, mamas, I know you remember quarantine, so do not do her like that, because I'm sure every mama. Wait, not only quarantine, but they try to make us homeschool too, on top of everything else. So.
Don't act like y'all don't remember. We just got out.
Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. So that's something that would be like tips, because I feel like moms need to know what are some ways they can deal with things when they feel like that. And if you need to get a nanny, to each his own.
To each your own. Yeah.
You got to find your
use your village.
Figure it out.
Yeah, that's why I always advise women, like, use your village and don't be afraid to ask, because sometimes whether it's your best friend or the grandparents or one of your siblings, like, obviously I'm not saying for you to make them your nanny, but maybe if you're intentional about asking them one time a month, one afternoon a month, can you keep them while I go to the spa or go to, do something to pour into yourself and be intentional about that. I feel like one of the main tips that I always give is like, it's always better to be proactive than reactive. Yeah. Always, plan. It's much easier to navigate not going into burnout than to get yourself out of it once you're already in it.
Makes sense.
What's the difference? Say like, okay, so I'm about to have a newborn, and the two boys that I already have are already driving me up the wall, and so it's I don't know, like I feel like once this baby comes, like I know there's gonna be a period where it's just gonna get chaotic, but like how do you distinguish between it being like postpartum depression or like you're literally burnt out?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Part of that I believe is the intensity of it and the duration of it. So if you feel like your thoughts are changing, how you're feeling towards your children, how you're feeling about yourself, and if your thoughts, start to get to a point where they're consuming you, I would definitely advise for you to seek help. Always, I all women, I say seek help, even if it's just a few conversations with someone. That, as I said, it's better to be proactive than to be reactive and put yourself in a situation that's unhealthy for you and your family.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. That's because I think most people don't know how to differentiate which ones are like, okay, what are these thoughts? Like, am I just tired, or am I really just not feeling this at the moment?
Right.
And it's so common. So that's a topic that we need to speak on often, because people act like they're afraid to bring up that topic. Like, oh, I'm going to be judged, and I'm a bad mom or this. And I always like the saying that just because the thought of you thinking that you're a bad mom just means you're even a better mom.
Right.
Because, you know, you wouldn't think of those thoughts if you weren't a good mom, because you're working to be a good mom. So interesting. What are there ways that you deal with certain stuff, like with the kids? Because I feel like your household, like, you got it together. See, I know them kids, like, those kids probably do stuff, but I feel like you're like, okay, guys, like, they're pretty good. They play by themselves. They like, even though when I went over there, they was dressing me up. They was dressing me up. Yeah, better. Never mind. They were in there putting hats on me and everything. So let me take that back. But when do you know it's your time to step away and be like, yeah, let me go get coffee and chill? Like, do you have those moments yourself? Because you do so much. Like, you're working, you're married, you have like a lot of stuff. So when do you know when your time is to step away and have your self-care in your moment?
Well, I think I had to learn that for myself, because, you know, in the very beginning, well, you know, I started with one. It was just me and Layla for a long time. And then when I had more, like you said, navigating, you know, adding more children to the mix, what that is like for me.
And you were at a different place when you had Layla, because you were younger when you had Layla. So your whole mental space from Layla to the kids now, I'm sure was totally different. Totally different.
Yeah.
The parent, I'm sure Layla got different from the parent that the new baby got.
Poor Layla.
Layla was a rock star. Layla was her village. Layla, we used our village with Layla.
Yes, her village was strong. But I think I've gotten to a point where I realized, like I said, being proactive rather than reactive, but in the sense of making it a habit for myself. So, and what I mean by that is every night after I put the kids to bed, I go and I meditate, and I'm very intentional about having that time to myself every night. Because, like you said, you have to find the time, or if you can't find the time, you have to make the time. And maybe it's not in the middle of the day when you wish it is, right?
Right. I need this right now.
Right? Like, I need to get out of this house. But every evening I'm able to take that time to myself and to meditate and to journal and kind of reset and kind of work through any feelings that I did have throughout the day. So I'm able to, I sleep better, I have amazing sleep, and I wake up recharged and ready to tackle the next day with all four of my kids and schedules. And my husband's a football coach, so during football season he is gone. You know what I mean? And it's just me and the kids. So it definitely helps being intentional and making that time for myself.
Which is important, because I feel like we make time for everything else, and you have doctor's appointments. Like, you make that appointment, so why can't you make the appointment to show up for yourself? And that's one of the things that our listeners know. I'm really big on self-care.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm about to go and get a facial, my nails done, because that's my time where I feel like I'm doing this for me, like not anybody else. But it kind of helps me just to feel like I haven't lost myself, because sometimes you feel like, who am I? And I don't want it to get to the point where you wake up one morning and you don't even know like your purpose, or like, what am I doing? Like that's scary. So I'm all for that, making the time.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make the time. No one else is gonna make it for you.
No. Yeah. It's so important to give yourself that grace. Like, we so easily give it to other people. And we're so easily to be like, it's okay, we understand what they're going through, but you won't do it for yourself often. And you will run yourself ragged when your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you'll ever have. So why put yourself in that position, and why not give yourself that grace that you need?
Say that again for the listeners in the back. Please show up for yourself because nobody else is showing up for you.
These kids will run you ragged if they could.
And then we just continue to have them. It's so rewarding though, and the whole process is just a beautiful thing. But it is work. Like,
it is work.
Everything in life is work. That's the thing. Like everything is work. So nothing comes easy. You have to work at everything. You have to be consistent with everything. Like it's the same process, just in a different way.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely being consistent with your self-care and giving yourself breaks when you need it and reaching out to your village, even if that village is your husband. You know what I mean? Like, it is your husband.
And that needs to be the
and
first
he should know.
He's
He's dealing with the same kids you are.
But a lot of times, like, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, because I didn't do it for long. I only did it for like a year and a half, right? But
I work. I'll see
I
you
know
tomorrow.
what it's like. Like, okay, he's worked all day and it's finally the weekend. He needs a break.
Yeah.
And like, no,
You
he's
had
been
these
away from
kids
the
too.
house all week. You need a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And recognizing that it's okay. You know, it's okay. He'll be okay for like 3 or 4 hours.
I remember
you know?
that. Like, my husband's in law enforcement, so he's gone a lot. And I remember, like, counting down the minutes till, like, he's about to get home. And I'm like, all right, your turn. And I'm, like, you know, like, handing them off. And then he tells me he's tired. And I'm like, I'm tired, too.
Yeah.
And, like, I used to feel guilty at first, like, doing that to him. Because, like, I understand. Like, I get it. Like, you're dealing with crazy people all day or people who are giving you shit every day or whatever, and like he needs to unwind, but I needed my time too, you know what I mean? So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna feel guilty, like these are your kids too.
We're in this together. This is a partnership.
Yeah.
This is a partnership. I need my time as well. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that gets tough.
I have a question. I was going to say, I have a question for you, Rona. How do you, because we're talking about, you know, your husband being your village and going to him first. How do you navigate that with your household? Because I know you and your husband work together too, right? You work apart, but you also work together. So how do you navigate that?
Going away.
Getting out of town.
Went away. You're using Mamas and Mimosas to go film, and I gotta go. No, honestly, I know the things that help us too. We also not only do we take time like with each other and with the kids, like we make sure like we still date each other too, and that's like I feel like that also helps, and it helps. It makes it easier for like, and he doesn't have a problem. Like he come home, I'm like, can you feed the kids or can you take them because I just need a second, and he's like hands on. So I've been blessed about that, but I'm just very vocal. There was a point where I was kind of afraid to say it because I'm like, I was home for a while, and the same thing as Marianne said, like I was like, okay, well I've been here. You can be like, well, what have you been doing all day? Yeah. But I feel like a lot of times we think that they should know. Like I would think that when he came to the door and he would look at me, he would know I needed a break, but they are literally oblivious. Like, like I can have my hair all over my head dragging like, oh, making noises, and they won't get it. Like you literally have to say, can you get your kids? Like I have a moment. Like, and I had to learn that because I would get mad. Like, how come you don't know that I'm tired and you can't see on my face that I'm like, done
you
today?
Cannot see,
but literally, like they don't know. Like you literally have to be vocal. So that's what I had to learn is to speak up and ask for help, which a lot of moms and women, we want to do it all. We like, no, okay, you're not doing it right. Let me do it. And I'll do it. Yeah. We have to just...
You have to just let
you
them.
just have
like,
to let it
They'll
happen.
figure it out.
Yeah, they will. And I had to learn that. It took me a while. And what stood out to me, I remember I was going on like a trip with my mom and grandma and stuff. And I think... my husband was going to be home with the kids for like a week by himself, which was unheard of. And my aunt was like... She was like, you're leaving him home with the kids? I said, yes, that is their biological father. Yeah. I am leaving them here with their father. Yes, I am. Like, he leaves me here with them all the time. Like,
and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't think twice.
Now, the kids on the
they
other
don't
hand,
think twice.
no, they
feel
don't.
guilty.
They don't. The kids, on the other hand, were holding on to my leg. Like, Dad's going to mix up spaghetti and Cheerios together. The cooking part. So that, I'm like, well, guess what? You're eating spaghetti and Cheerios. Okay, because I'm out. So that was big for me. I had to realize just You have to speak up, because
Yeah.
if you don't speak up, you will drive yourself crazy, and you can't be mad at anybody but yourself at that point. So that's how I learned to navigate, and I'm still navigating it and still trying to not lose myself and still keep my sanity and find me and do stuff for me that makes me happy. So
I think as you get older too, you figure out like what you need differently as you get older.
You do. Yeah. You figure out like, and everyone's always changing. We're evolving at all times. So the person, and me and my husband literally have been together since we were 18. So the person that we were when we were 18 is clearly not the people we are almost going into, I'm not going to say, but
your later 20s.
Right? My 28. But so you're always changing. So you have to find ways to communicate and still, communicate basically at the end of the day. So it's a process. It is a process. Everything is a process. But I know I am like so blessed that I have this girl right here, because I literally used my free charger. I'm like, Sandy, okay, so I need help. And that's what we have to do, speak up.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to normalize, like, if you don't feel right, say you don't feel right. Like, don't be worried about being judged because you do something later on, like you're all crazy now because you didn't want to say nothing and be judged. Like, someone's going to always have something to say at the end of the day. Like, you could be the perfect think you're the perfect person doing everything right, and someone will find something to say. So you just got to do you.
Yeah. It's important to have conversations and spaces that you feel are safe, and with friends you feel are safe, or family members you feel are safe, because like you said, you felt safe talking to me, right? And sometimes, if depending on who you talk to, they might give you feedback or something that really isn't constructive to what you have going on. So it is good to be conscious and know who you can talk to and utilize those resources.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with this being said, for moms out there who may be feeling at that point where they're like, you know what, I'm just doing way too much. This is so hard. Like, no one, because there's no book. They don't give us a book on how you're supposed to parent. And everyone parents different. Every child is different.
Every child is different.
Yeah.
Right.
So what advice would you give to them if they're feeling at that point? Like, what do I do next? Like, these kids are driving me crazy. I can't, do they still let you drop them off at the fire station or no?
How old? What's the age limit on that? Because I have a teenager.
I have a few that could get dropped off, but like, what, if they're at that point, like what
they're driving you up the wall.
Yeah, what can they
handle
do
them?
Because everyone's, what may make them, some people may want to read a book. Some people may want to go for, everyone's advice is like different.
Right.
So what advice could you give someone who is feeling this way at this time?
I would say the exact thing you just said with regards to finding out what coping mechanism is best, what healthy coping mechanism is best for you.
You say healthy.
Define healthy. I just like that in there.
You're gonna have some alcoholics show up and like, they told me to cope.
Right. I'm coping. Look, they said, therapist Sandy said I can pour this up because this is my new coping.
Like, implement those healthy coping mechanisms and be intentional about that. Like you said, maybe it is reading a book, or maybe it's just going for a walk. Like, depending on the age range of your children, my oldest is 15. If they're all in the house, I can go outside and go for like a 10-minute walk by myself and just breathe, get some fresh air, get out of the house, get some sun, get some quiet. Because sometimes we just need quiet.
Second.
Yeah, we just need like quiet, depending on
lying.
how many kids you have. Sometimes you just need that, like, to hear nothing.
Well, that's so funny. I remember growing up, I would always like remember my mom saying like, just give me a second to think. Like, can you be quiet so I can think? And I never really understood what that meant until I was a parent.
You were one of those kids, Roni.
Like, give me a second.
I need to think. I need to hear myself think. Like, I need to. So that it looks different for everybody, and just. And in the beginning, it may just be trial and error. Maybe you might, and it doesn't have to look the same every day. Maybe one day it's meditating after bedtime, and another day it's going for a walk, and and you switch it up and you do what you can when you can, and don't beat yourself up if you can't stick to a certain routine, because things change. Life happens to all of us.
Yeah. I've noticed too, where I'm finding out like each one of my kids are different personalities, and I'm finding things that also help them kind of be calm. Like I just recently realized that Harley loves to garden. Like I had no idea. And I was out gardening and she was helping me, and she was gardening like literally for 45 minutes. She had her headphones on and just in the zone. And I was like,
wow.
Oh, okay. So this is, so we're gardeners now, because she just was like, she was so calm. And so finding things also for them. And another thing, she likes bath bombs, so she'll be in the bath with it, and she'll be in there
self-care.
So I'm finding things that may also help them kind of cope and be kind of like have their moment too, because I feel like they're at school too, like the kids are going through stuff as well, and you don't always want to shut them down and don't let them also have an opinion to a certain extent before it gets disrespectful. But you know, they also are we are definitely having that topic. But you also want to let them their personality shine, and don't shun them so much on who they are naturally. So that has been, I found that out to help also.
And that's wonderful, because as you know, that's as you now recognize, that's something you could do together. Even if she has her headphones, you have your headphones, you're having your time, but you can see her, and you guys are essentially together, but in your own zones.
Absolutely.
I love that.
I like that.
You have really helped us. This was a good topic, because it's not talked about enough, and it's a real deal. And I would hate for anybody to get to that point where it's too late, or they feel like they just have no hope. And that was one of the reasons that we started Mamas and Mimosas, is because our previous co-host had a friend who was a mom, and she just was so overwhelmed, and she committed suicide. And we never wanted to get to that point. But it's not talked about enough that, you know, you have to use your resources, and it takes a village. That saying is, they didn't make that for nothing. It takes a village. For sure.
So we are here for you, and you can always reach out to us, or even Sandy. Sandy
you let us know how we can find you.
So I'm on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is the same on both. Just me, Cassandra G, with a C and 2 S's. And because people always ask, is it C or K? C. And also on my website, CassandraGilbert.com. I offer a plethora of services, but now I will also be offering, because we touched on healing, right? And us moms, like doing that inner healing work, especially if we feel like we're losing ourselves and we're out of alignment, or what's our purpose and stuff like that. And so I have a workbook I've actually created that I will be offering on my website. Exciting. So look out for that soon. And so
I'm getting that book. Awesome.
Thank you for joining us, Sandy.
I'm so happy to be here. I love this. I love you guys.
So we'll tag you on our post in case you don't remember what she just said. You can find her there. And don't forget to take care of yourselves, moms.
Yes, please.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you want to catch up on our previous episodes, visit mamasmimosas.com, where you'll get access to all of our podcast show notes, our YouTube videos, and our private Facebook group, where we chat with you about each episode topic and host live question and answers with our favorite mom tribe. Can't wait to see you there.